The galactic train station buzzed with life, a sprawling hub of interstellar travel located at the crossroads of the universe. Neon lights flickered overhead, casting a kaleidoscope of colors onto the polished metal floors. The air was thick with the aroma of burnt fuel, mingling with the tang of ozone from the nearby charging stations. Announcements echoed through the vast terminal, each one a blend of various alien dialects, creating a symphony of sound that was both disorienting and exhilarating. Among the throngs of travelers, Alex Rodriguez stood, leaning against a cold metal pillar. He was an Uber driver, weary from a long shift that had stretched into the late hours of the night. His eyes were heavy, and his mind was clouded with thoughts of missed opportunities and unfulfilled dreams. He watched as the last train, a sleek vessel painted in shimmering silver, prepared to depart. The train's engines hummed softly, a sound that resonated deep within him, stirring a sense of longing. Another day, another missed chance, he muttered to himself, pushing a hand through his tousled hair. The reality of his life seemed to wash over him like a wave, pulling him down into a sea of regrets. He had always envisioned a life filled with adventure, a life where he would be more than just a driver. Yet here he was, watching a train that could take him anywhere but choosing to remain stagnant. The crowd shifted around him, a mix of humans and aliens, each absorbed in their own worlds. Some rushed to catch their trains, while others lingered, exchanging hurried goodbyes. The atmosphere was charged with excitement and anxiety, a reminder of the journeys that lay ahead for those willing to board. As he stood there, Alex couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sadness. He was just an observer in a bustling universe, a mere flicker in the grand tapestry of existence. Suddenly, a loud voice broke through his reverie. "You're going to miss it," a woman shouted, pulling him back to reality. He glanced over to see a group of excited creatures, tall and slender with shimmering skin, gathered near the platform. Their eyes sparkled with a mix of anticipation and fear. They were aliens, undoubtedly from a distant planet, and their vibrant energy was infectious. Alex felt a tug in his heart. These beings were about to embark on a journey, one that he could only dream of. If you are enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, he thought, wishing he could share this moment with others, but for now, all he could do was watch. As the train's departure announcement blared, the aliens began to move, their limbs gracefully navigating the chaotic terminal. Alex instinctively stepped closer, drawn to their vibrant aura. He noticed the way they communicated, their gestures fluid and expressive, a dance of emotion that transcended words. It was mesmerizing. Watching them, Alex felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Perhaps there was still time to change his path, to redefine what it meant to live fully. But the thought was quickly smothered by the weight of reality. He was just a driver, after all. What could he possibly offer? Just as the aliens reached the boarding gate, one of them, a tall figure with iridescent skin, turned back, locking eyes with Alex. For a brief moment, he felt a connection, a recognition of shared struggles. The alien's expression was one of determination mixed with fear, a reflection of the very emotions that had plagued Alex throughout his life. The train's doors began to close, and the alien's gaze shifted, a flicker of desperation passing across their face. In that moment, Alex felt an urge to act, to break free from the chains of his own complacency. He stepped forward, forcing his way through the crowd. The bustling terminal faded away, and the world narrowed to just him and that alien. "Wait," he called out, his voice rising above the din. The alien paused, turning back, their eyes wide with surprise. "Do you need help?" Alex asked, the words tumbling out before he could second-guess himself. He had no idea what he could possibly offer, but something deep inside urged him forward. The alien hesitated, then nodded slowly, glancing at their companions who were now frantically urging the alien to board the train. As he moved closer, Alex felt the weight of the moment settle upon him. This was a chance, a fleeting opportunity to step into a world beyond his monotonous routine. The alien gestured, and in that instant, Alex understood. They were not just running for their lives, they were seeking a future, a chance at freedom. Alex's heart raced as he considered the implications. He could help them navigate the station, guide them through the bewildering maze of interstellar travel. It was a small gesture, but in a galaxy filled with uncertainty, it could mean everything. "Come on, let's get you on that train," he said, determination flooding his voice. He could feel the eyes of the other passengers on him, some skeptical, others curious. But he pushed through, fueled by something greater than himself. The alien nodded again, a look of gratitude shining in their eyes. Alex felt a swell of pride mixed with anxiety. He had always wanted to be part of something bigger, and now, standing in front of this extraterrestrial being, it felt like he finally had a purpose. Together, they rushed towards the train, weaving through the crowd. Alex's heart pounded in rhythm with the chaos around him. The sounds of the station, clanging metal, chattering voices, the hum of engines, created a symphony that echoed his own internal struggle. He was no longer just a bystander, he was an active participant in this unfolding drama. As they approached the boarding gate, Alex's mind raced with possibilities. Could this be the turning point in his life? The moment he stepped away from his fears and embraced the unknown? The thought both thrilled and terrified him. Yet, he knew that in that fleeting moment, he had the chance to rewrite his own narrative. With a burst of courage, he reached the gate just in time. "We're here," he called out, his voice breaking through the chaos. The alien's companions were already at the door, their luminous faces filled with urgency. The last train was about to leave, and he could feel the weight of destiny pressing down on him. He took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In that instant, he realized that life was not just about the destinations we reach, but the journeys we embark upon, and the connections we forge along the way. As Alex stood there, a sense of urgency flooded the galactic train station, a bustling hub of interstellar travel filled with the hum of engines and the chatter of countless species. He watched as vibrant aliens began to move through the crowd, their limbs gracefully navigating the chaotic terminal. Their skin shimmered in shades he had never seen before, a kaleidoscope of colors that seemed to pulse with life. He felt an instinctual pull toward them, as if they were a beacon of something he had long forgotten. The sounds of the station swirled around him, the clanging of metal, the chatter of passengers, and the occasional announcement blaring overhead. The smell of burned fuel and something sweet yet unfamiliar filled the air. It was overwhelming and intoxicating at the same time. Alex took a deep breath, trying to ground himself amid the sensory overload. But as he watched the aliens communicate, their gestures fluid and expressive, he felt the weight of his own life pressing down on him. With every passing moment, he felt more and more like a ghost in this vibrant world. A weary Uber driver who had just finished another grueling shift, Alex was exhausted. As he observed the last train, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of melancholy wash over him. He reflected on his life choices and the monotony that had come to define him. The routine of driving passengers from one place to another had dulled his spirit, leaving him feeling like a mere cog in a vast machine. Just then, a group of aliens caught his eye. They were unlike anything he had seen before, each one unique, yet there was a palpable sense of urgency among them. They huddled close together, whispering animatedly, their colorful features contrasting sharply with the drab surroundings of the station. Alex's curiosity piqued as he couldn't help but overhear snippets of their conversation. Words like danger and escape floated through the air, laced with desperation. He watched as one of the taller aliens, with iridescent skin that seemed to change colors under the flickering lights of the station, gestured frantically toward the train. There was a flicker of fear in their eyes, a stark reminder of how fragile life could be. Alex felt a tug at his heart. He knew all too well what it meant to feel trapped by circumstances beyond his control. As the aliens approached the boarding gate, Alex felt an overwhelming urge to help them. He stepped closer, drawn to their plight. What did they need? He had no idea, but something deep within him stirred. They were not just fleeing a physical threat, they were in search of a future, a hope, much like he had once sought when he first embarked on his own journey. "Wait," he called out, his voice rising above the din of the crowd. The sound echoed in his ears, a call to action that surprised even him. The aliens paused, turning to look at him with wide, curious eyes. Their expression shifted from panic to a glimmer of something like hope. "Do you need help?" he asked, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The words spilled from his mouth before he could second-guess himself. The tallest alien hesitated, glancing back at their companions, who were now frantically urging them to board the train. Alex could feel the weight of their situation pressing down on him, a palpable tension that sent shivers down his spine. In that moment, he realized he could be more than an observer in this world.
He could actively shape his destiny and help someone in need. The aliens needed guidance, a simple act that could mean everything to them.
He stepped forward, determination flooding his veins. "Come on, let's get you on that train," he said, the urgency in his voice matching the chaos around them. The tall alien nodded slowly, a look of gratitude washing over their face. Alex felt a swell of pride mixed with anxiety as he led the way. He could feel the eyes of the other passengers on him, some skeptical, others curious about this unexpected turn of events. But he pushed through, fueled by something greater than himself. He was no longer just a man with a job, he was a lifeline. As they rushed toward the train, Alex's heart raced. The sounds of the station, the clanging, the chatter, the hum, created a symphony that echoed the chaotic energy within him. He was stepping outside of his comfort zone, embracing a moment that could redefine him. Could this be the turning point in his life? He felt the thrill and terror of the unknown intertwine within him. With every step, he could feel the tension rise. The train loomed ahead, its doors almost closed. Time seemed to slow as he urged the aliens forward, his mind racing with possibilities. Could he actually help them? Could he be the hero they needed? The thought both thrilled and terrified him. Yet, he knew that this was a defining moment, a chance to rewrite his own narrative. As they approached the boarding gate, panic surged through him at the sight of the closing doors. "We're here," he shouted, raising his voice to cut through the noise around them. The aliens' companions were already at the door, faces filled with urgency. Alex pushed his way through the throng, adrenaline coursing through him. He reached the gate just in time. The last train was about to leave, and he felt the weight of destiny pressing down on him. He took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In that instant, he realized that life was not just about the destinations we reach, but the journeys we embark upon, and the connections we forge along the way. As he helped the aliens board the train, he felt a rush of exhilaration. This was a moment he would never forget. It was a small act of kindness, but it had the power to change lives, not just theirs, but his as well. If you are enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Each turn of events led him to this point, and he was determined to see it through to the end. Little did he know that this was just the beginning of an extraordinary adventure that would not only test his resolve but also change the very fabric of his understanding of what it meant to be human and connected in a vast universe. As the last echoes of the train's whistle faded, Alex felt a surge of resolve. The aliens were visibly shaken, their elongated limbs trembling slightly in the chaos of the station. With wide, glistening eyes, they scanned their surroundings, clearly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of travelers darting about, some rushing to catch their own trains, others lingering in the dimly lit corners of the Galactic train station. Alex, now fully committed to helping them, stepped forward, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. "Hey, it's all right," he said, his voice steady despite the noise surrounding them. "I can help you. Just follow me." He gestured for them to come closer. They hesitated for a moment, exchanging glances filled with uncertainty. Finally, the tallest alien, whose skin shimmered with an iridescent hue, took a step forward. "Thank you," it said, its voice a melodic blend of tones that felt both alien and strangely comforting. "We are lost." "Then let's get you on that train," Alex replied, summoning a sense of determination that surprised even him. The urgency in the air was palpable, and he felt the weight of their plight resting heavily on his shoulders. He couldn't simply walk away. These beings were seeking refuge, a new beginning, just like he had once desired for himself. As they moved through the bustling station, Alex couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between the chaotic energy of the place and the fragile hope radiating from the aliens. They were dressed in tattered garments that seemed to flow like water, their features marked by the struggles they had endured. Each step they took echoed the silent screams of their past, a reminder that they were not just fleeing physical danger, but also the emotional scars of war. "Where are you headed?" Alex asked, trying to keep the conversation flowing to ease their tension. The tall alien paused, its brow furrowing as it processed the question. "To a distant planet, Zanara," it replied. "We hope to find safety there. But the journey is perilous. We were told this train could take us closer." "Zanara," Alex repeated, committing the name to memory.
I'll do everything I can to help you get there. He glanced around, trying to map out the best route through the crowd. The station was a labyrinth of flashing lights and vibrant colors, and every direction seemed to pulse with urgency. They weaved their way through the throngs of people, avoiding the occasional jostle from hurried travelers. The sense of burnt fuel and distant spices wafted through the air, creating a sensory overload that both exhilarated and overwhelmed him. Alex's breath quickened as they approached the boarding area. "Is this your first time traveling this way?" he asked, trying to keep the mood light, but the fear in the alien's demeanor lingered. The tall alien shook its head slowly, its expression a mixture of fear and determination. "We have traveled before, but this is different. We have no one to guide us, and there are dangers." "Trust me," Alex said, his voice firm but gentle. "I'll make sure you get on that train safely." He felt a sense of responsibility blossoming within him, almost as if he were stepping into a role he never knew he wanted. The thought ignited a spark of courage deep in his core. As they reached the gates, Alex noticed a line of passengers forming. His heart sank when he saw the digital clock ticking down the seconds until departure. The train's doors were already beginning to slide shut. Panic surged through him. "We need to hurry," he urged, pushing ahead. The aliens followed closely, their movements fluid yet cautious. As they approached the gate, Alex caught a glimpse of the stern-faced security officers stationed at the entrance, their expressions unreadable. Just then, a vibration echoed through the platform, signaling the impending closure of the doors. "Excuse me. We need to get on," Alex shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. The officers looked at him, then at the aliens, their expressions shifting from curiosity to suspicion. "Identification," one of them barked, his voice trained and authoritative. Alex's breath caught in his throat. He had left his ID at the food court during his break, thinking he wouldn't need it for just a quick run. I don't have it," he stammered, panic beginning to constrict his throat. The guard raised an eyebrow, and Alex felt his heart race. "But they need to get on. They're fleeing a war." He gestured toward the aliens, who appeared increasingly anxious. The guard remained unmoved, his expression cold and unyielding. "No ID, no entry. That's the rule." Alex felt a wave of frustration wash over him. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about these innocent beings who had already lost so much. He took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of charm and confidence he could muster. "Listen, I can explain everything. They're in danger, and if they don't board this train, they might not get another chance. Please, just let them on." The officer's gaze softened momentarily as he glanced at the aliens, who stood silently, their expressions a mix of fear and hope. He seemed torn between duty and empathy, and for a brief moment, Alex saw a flicker of understanding in his eyes. "Fine," the guard said, finally relenting. "But only because you're clearly panicking. Get them on board, quickly." "Thank you," Alex exclaimed, feeling an overwhelming rush of relief. He turned to the aliens, who looked at him with a mix of gratitude and disbelief. "Go! Now!" He gestured toward the train doors, which were starting to close. As the aliens rushed past him, Alex felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. He was taking a stand, stepping into the unknown, and making a difference for someone else. Their lives mattered, and he was honored to be a part of their fight for a brighter future. With one last push, the aliens slipped through the doors just as they sealed shut behind them. Alex leaned against the wall, heart pounding, as he watched the train begin to pull away from the platform. He felt a strange mixture of joy and sorrow wash over him, the joy of having helped them, but sorrow for the uncertainty that lay ahead. The train's lights flickered as it gained speed, disappearing into the depths of the station. Alex stood there, reflecting on the moment, understanding that this was not just an act of kindness, but a turning point in his life. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Sometimes, the smallest gestures could lead to the biggest changes, not just for others, but for oneself as well. As the last echoes of the train faded into the distance, Alex took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever came next. As Alex and the aliens bolted toward the train, the chaos around them intensified. The station was alive with the sounds of blaring announcements,
the rumble of departing shuttles, and the chatter of anxious travelers. Alex's heart pounded in rhythm with the ticking clock overhead, each second feeling like an eternity as the digital countdown to the train's departure continued.
Keep moving. We can't let them catch us, Alex urged, glancing back at the aliens trailing behind him. Their sleek, elongated bodies moved gracefully, yet the fear in their large, luminescent eyes was unmistakable.
They had never been in a place like this, a vast, bustling station filled with strange smells and sounds, and now they were in a race against time. The path to the gates twisted between kiosks selling galactic snacks and vendors hawking trinkets from distant worlds. The smell of fried alien delicacies mixed with the acrid scent of burned fuel wafting from the nearby shuttles, creating a sensory overload that threatened to distract Alex. But he couldn't afford to lose focus, not now, not when lives were at stake.
As they neared the boarding area, a solid wall of security officers came into view. The officers stood with arms crossed, their expressions stern and unyielding. Alex felt his stomach drop. What if they don't let us through, he thought, panic creeping in. What if they stop us?
He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on his shoulders. He had promised to get the aliens on board, and he wouldn't let them down. "Stay close to me," he instructed the group.
"Just follow my lead."
The aliens nodded, their antennae twitching nervously as they tried to keep pace. They were a motley crew, each with unique features, a shimmering skin that reflected the lights of the station, eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light, and delicate limbs that moved with an elegance that was both mesmerizing and disorienting. As they approached the security checkpoint, Alex's heart raced. He could see the digital clock above the gate ticking down the final seconds. The last train to Glydian Prime was about to depart, and he had no idea how he would convince the officers to let them through without any identification.
"Excuse me. We need to get on,"
Alex shouted, desperation lacing his voice as he stepped forward, trying to capture the attention of the nearest guard. The guard, a tall figure with a no-nonsense attitude, turned to him, eyebrows raised. "Identification," he barked, his voice cutting through the noise of the station like a sharp blade.
Alex's heart sank.
I don't have it," he admitted, feeling a wave of panic wash over him.
"But they need to get on. They're fleeing a war." The guard's eyes narrowed, suspicion evident on his face. "No ID, no entry. That's the rule." Frustration bubbled inside Alex. He turned to the aliens, who now stood behind him, their expressions a mixture of fear and hope. He couldn't let them down, not after everything they had been through. "Please," Alex said, his voice steadier than he felt. "They're in danger. If they don't board this train, I don't know what will happen to them." "Is that so?" The guard seemed to ponder for a moment, glancing at the aliens. "You expect me to let them through without proper documentation?" "Yes," Alex replied, his desperation escalating. "They've lost everything. They're not just passengers, they're survivors."
The guard's expression softened slightly, but he remained skeptical.
"You have 1 minute. If you can give me a reason to let them through, I might reconsider." Alex took a deep breath, his mind racing. What could he say that would convince this officer?
"Look, just look at them," he pleaded, gesturing to the aliens.
"They're not here to cause trouble.
They just want to escape a nightmare."
"Isn't that worth more than a piece of paper?"
The guard hesitated, his gaze shifting from Alex to the aliens, who stood quietly, their eyes wide and pleading. Perhaps it was the urgency in Alex's voice or the sincerity in his eyes, but for a fleeting moment, the officer seemed to be weighing his options.
"Fine," the guard said, finally relenting.
"But only because you're clearly panicking and I hate dealing with emergencies."
He waved them through. "Go! Quickly! Thank you! Thank you so much!"
Alex exclaimed, relief flooding through him as he turned to the aliens.
"Go! Now!"
They dashed forward, their long limbs propelling them with an urgency that matched Alex's racing heart. He followed closely behind, glancing back at the guard, who seemed to be doing his best to keep an eye on the situation without raising any alarms. As they reached the doors, Alex could see the train, sleek and imposing, its metal surface shimmering under the bright lights of the platform. He felt a rush of adrenaline as he urged the aliens to hurry.
Get on! Get on! Just as they approached the train, a loud alarm sounded, and the doors began to slide shut. Time seemed to slow as Alex reached out, desperately trying to grab the arm of the nearest alien.
No, he shouted, lunging forward. With a final burst of energy, the aliens slipped through the closing doors just in time.
Alex stumbled onto the train behind them, breathless and exhilarated. They had made it.
As the doors sealed shut with a definitive hiss, the train began to move, pulling away from the station. A wave of relief washed over Alex like a tide, but it was mixed with a bittersweet taste of uncertainty.
They were safe for now, but what lay ahead? Thank you, one of the aliens said, its voice trembling slightly.
We were scared.
I know, Alex replied, still catching his breath. But I couldn't just let you stand there.
You deserve a chance. The alien's eyes glimmered with gratitude, and in that moment, Alex realized that he had stepped into something much bigger than himself. He wasn't just an Uber driver anymore, he was part of a fight for survival, a journey that would change the course of their lives. As the train sped through the stars, Alex began to feel a connection to these beings, a sense of purpose igniting within him. He had taken a chance, and in return, he had found courage he never knew he had. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Sometimes, it's the choices we make in the face of fear that define who we truly are. In the distance, the stars seemed to twinkle with a promise of new beginnings.
Whatever awaited them, Alex was ready to face it with the aliens by his side.
The train's doors slid shut with a metallic hiss, sealing off the chaos of the galactic train station behind them. Alex was still catching his breath, heart pounding like a drum in his chest as he glanced around the interior of the train. The sleek, silver walls gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and the faint hum of the engines filled the air, a sound that, moments ago, had felt like a distant echo. Now, it was the soundtrack to a new reality, one that he had thrown himself into without a second thought. The aliens stood together, their elongated figures contrasting with the more compact humans on board. Alex could see their wide eyes filled with a mixture of relief and residual fear, and it struck him how fragile their hope had been just moments before. They were fleeing a war, a nightmare he could scarcely comprehend, and yet here they were, safe for the moment. He had made a choice for them, for himself, and it felt surreal. Thank you, one of them said, its voice a melodic blend of sounds that Alex struggled to understand.
It stepped closer, its shimmering skin reflecting the train's lights.
You saved us. I just did what anyone would do, Alex replied, trying to downplay his role, but even as he spoke, he felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. You deserve to be safe. The alien, whose name he later learned was Velana, tilted its head in a way that reminded Alex of a curious dog. You risked much, it said, its tone serious yet laced with gratitude.
Not many would.
Alex shrugged, feeling a bit embarrassed.
I'm just an Uber driver. I don't know what I'm doing.
But you chose to act, another alien, Nex, added, stepping forward.
That is more than many would. Most would turn away.
The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Alex felt a swell of pride mixed with guilt. He had never thought of himself as someone who could make a difference. He drove a car, picked up fares, and dropped people off, simple tasks in a vast universe.
But this?
This was different. He had stepped into a conflict that felt bigger than himself, and now, he couldn't turn back. As the train began to pick up speed, the surroundings outside transformed into a blur of colors. Stars streaked past like high-speed comets, and for a moment, the gravity of their situation faded into the background. It was a strange juxtaposition, the thrill of escape mixed with the reality of what they were running from. Alex found himself staring out of the window, lost in thought. What would happen next? Where would they go?
Do you have a plan?
Velana asked, breaking the silence, its large eyes searching his face for answers. Alex turned back to them, realizing that he had become an unexpected leader in this bizarre scenario. Not really, he admitted. I just thought we could get away from the station, for now. I didn't think much beyond that.
Nex nodded, a hint of amusement crossing its features. That is often how the best plans begin. A leap into the unknown.
Sounds about right, Alex chuckled, his nerves easing just a little.
But we need a more solid plan than just running, don't we?
We can't just ride this train forever.
The aliens exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from relief to concern.
We need to reach the nearest safe planet, Velana suggested. From there, we can find refuge.
Our people have a stronghold on Zenthia Prime. If we can get there, we might stand a chance. Zenthia Prime?
Alex echoed, trying to grasp the concept.
Is that far from here?
Not far, Nix assured him, but it may not be easy to access.
There are checkpoints, and we may face scrutiny upon arrival.
Alex frowned, the reality of their situation crashing back down on him like a wave.
Right. And I don't have any identification.
I barely made it out with you guys.
Velana looked thoughtful.
We can disguise ourselves. Use the train's facilities to alter our appearances. It's a common practice among travelers in this part of space.
Disguise?
Alex was intrigued.
How would that even work?
Let me show you, Velana said, leading him toward a small room at the end of the car. The walls were lined with screens displaying various alien cultures and technologies.
We have technology that can change our appearances temporarily. It's not permanent, but it will help us blend in. As they entered the room, a colorful array of holographic projections flickered to life.
Velana began to manipulate the controls, and images danced across the screens, their alien forms shifting and changing into more human-like appearances.
Alex watched in awe as Velana transformed into a tall, slender figure resembling a human, complete with a mop of dark hair and vibrant blue eyes.
Wow, Alex breathed.
That's amazing. Now you, Velana prompted, gesturing to an interface. You can choose a look that will help you blend in better.
With a sense of curiosity, Alex stepped up to the interface, his fingers hovering over the controls. He selected a few options, adjusting his height, hair color, and clothing style. In mere seconds, the holographic projector enveloped him, and he felt a tingling sensation. When it faded, he looked in the mirror and saw a completely different version of himself, taller, with darker hair and a more rugged appearance.
Perfect, Nix exclaimed, clapping its alien hands together. Now we can move more freely. We will need to act normal, not draw attention.
Got it, Alex said, feeling a surge of confidence.
Let's get to Zenthia Prime.
As the train hurtled through the cosmos, they settled into their seats, the reality of their situation settling in. They were a mismatched group, a human who drove an Uber and 3 aliens fleeing war.
But in that moment, they were united by a common goal and a sense of purpose. Alex couldn't help but smile as he glanced at his companions.
It was strange how quickly life could change, how a simple choice could lead to something extraordinary.
Thank you again, Alex, Velana said softly, breaking the silence.
You have no idea how much this means to us.
No, I think I do, Alex replied, his voice firm. We're in this together now. Just remember, we have to stay strong and stick to the plan.
If we get through this, we'll start fresh wherever we land. That is the spirit, Nix said, nodding in agreement.
Together, we will overcome whatever lies ahead.
As the train sped into the unknown, the stars outside transformed into a brilliant tapestry of light, a hopeful reminder of the journey still ahead. With every passing moment, Alex felt a sense of belonging he hadn't realized he craved. He was ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, and for the first time in a long while, he understood that he was not just a bystander in his own life, he was an active participant in shaping his destiny. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. After all, every journey begins with a single step, and sometimes, that step leads to a whole new universe.
As the train continued its journey through the cosmos, the atmosphere shifted from chaos to a tentative calm.
Alex, now sporting a new look created by the aliens' advanced disguise technology, sat with Velana and Nix in a compartment filled with the faint hum of the engine and the distant twinkling of stars outside the window. The lights inside the train flickered gently, casting a warm glow on their faces, illuminating the complexity of emotions that danced in the air. Velana turned to Alex, her eyes reflecting the myriad of colors from the holographic displays. Thank you again for helping us, she said, her voice softer now, laced with a hint of vulnerability. You have no idea how much your bravery means to us. Alex shrugged, trying to downplay the weight of her words.
I just did what anyone would do.
You guys seemed like you needed help, and honestly, I was just as lost as you were. There was a flicker of doubt in his mind, a nagging feeling that he was out of his depth, but he pushed it aside. The truth was, this experience was shaping him in ways he never anticipated. Nex, who had been quietly observing, chimed in. It is not often that we find a human willing to risk so much for those they do not know. This act of kindness strengthens the bond between our species. Alex nodded, feeling the warmth of their gratitude wash over him.
We're all in this together now, right? Just because we come from different worlds doesn't mean we can't help each other.
He glanced out the window, watching the stars blur into streaks of light as the train picked up speed. It was surreal, sitting here with creatures from another planet, discussing survival and friendship. The conversation flowed naturally, each exchange revealing more about their lives and cultures. Velana shared stories of her home planet, a vibrant place filled with bioluminescent flora and fauna that thrived beneath the twin moons. We have a deep connection to nature, she explained. Our people believe that every living being has a spirit, and we must honor that spirit in our daily lives. That's beautiful, Alex replied, genuinely moved. He couldn't help but think about how disconnected his own world often felt, consumed by technology and the rush of daily life. Here, in the presence of these aliens, he found a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years.
What about your planet?
Velana asked, curiosity sparkling in her eyes.
What is it like?
It's complicated, Alex admitted. Earth is diverse, but sometimes it feels like people are more focused on their differences than their similarities. We have wars, conflicts, and a lot of misunderstanding. He paused, realizing how much he wanted to change that narrative, to bridge the gaps that seemed so insurmountable. Just then, the train jolted slightly, a reminder that they were still racing through the galaxy. The ambience shifted as the reality of their situation reasserted itself. We need to be cautious, Nex said, his expression turning serious.
Once we arrive at Zenthia Prime, we will face checks and possible scrutiny.
They do not take kindly to refugees. Alex's heart raced at the thought.
What if they don't let us in? What if they send us back?
The fear of uncertainty loomed large, overshadowing the camaraderie they had just built. Then we will find another way, Velana said resolutely.
We must be prepared for anything.
Her determination resonated with Alex, reminding him of the resilience he had seen in many people throughout his life. It was a quality he admired and one that he aspired to embody. As they settled into a plan of action, the conversation turned to the logistics of their arrival. Velana explained the various checkpoints they would face, detailing the types of questions they might encounter and how to respond. Alex listened intently, taking mental notes, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. It was no longer just about him, it was about their survival. Keep your story straight, Nex advised, glancing between Alex and Velana.
We must present ourselves as innocent travelers seeking refuge. Any hint of conflict or deception could lead to dire consequences.
Alex nodded, trying to internalize the seriousness of their situation.
Got it. We stick to the plan.
A surge of adrenaline coursed through him. For the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of direction, a purpose that extended beyond his own life.
Let's take a moment to breathe, Velana suggested, her tone softening. We've been through a lot today. It's okay to feel overwhelmed.
Alex closed his eyes, inhaling deeply. The scent of metal and engine oil mixed with a faint floral fragrance from Velana's disguise technology. It was grounding, a reminder that even in the midst of chaos, there was still beauty to be found.
Thank you, he said softly, opening his eyes to meet theirs. For trusting me. I know I'm just a human, exactly, Nex interrupted with a gentle smile. You are more than just a human. You are our ally, our friend.
Alex felt a warmth spread through him at the word friend. It was a title he hadn't expected to earn so quickly, but here he was, part of something greater than himself. I won't let you down, he promised, his voice firm. As the train continued to hurtle through space, the stars outside transformed into a brilliant tapestry of light, a hopeful reminder of the journey still ahead. With every passing moment, Alex felt a sense of belonging he hadn't realized he craved. He was ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, and for the first time in a long while, he understood that he was not just a bystander in his own life, he was an active participant in shaping his destiny. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. After all, every journey begins with a single step, and sometimes, that step leads to a whole new universe. As the train sped through the vast expanse of space, a sudden tremor jolted Alex and the aliens from their moment of respite. The rhythmic hum of the engines faltered, replaced by a series of alarming beeps and warnings echoing throughout the cabin. Panic surged through the air as the aliens exchanged worried glances, their eyes wide with fear. "What's happening?" Alex shouted over the rising noise, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the tension building among the group as they instinctively huddled closer together. "We're being ambushed." Nex, the tech-savvy alien, exclaimed, his normally calm demeanor shattered. "Prepare yourselves." Before Alex could process those words, the train lurched violently to one side, throwing him against the metallic wall. He quickly regained his footing, adrenaline surging through his veins. He spotted Velana, her face pale but determined, and instinctively moved toward her. "Stay together," Alex shouted, trying to rally their spirits. "We need to think clearly." The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows across the cabin as the train's automated systems struggled to maintain control. Outside, through the reinforced windows, Alex could see ships darting closer, sleek and menacing. The attackers were visibly armed, their vessels adorned with insignias that marked them as enemies of the aliens. "What are they doing?" Velana asked, her voice trembling. "They must know we're on this train," Alex replied, scanning the control panel in front of him for any signs of hope. "We need to find a way to defend ourselves." Panic gave way to urgency as the aliens began to scatter, instinctively seeking cover. Alex, however, had no intention of hiding. He recalled the old action movies he'd watched as a kid, where the hero always found a way to outsmart the villain. "We can't just sit here," he yelled, gaining their attention. "We need to fight back." "But we have no weapons," Zara protested, her voice quaking with fear. "Not yet, but we have our wits," Alex responded, his mind racing. "Nex, can you hack into the train's systems? Maybe there's something we can use." Nex nodded, the determination returning to his eyes. "I'll try. Give me access to the control panel." While Nex scrambled to access the train's systems, Alex assessed their surroundings. He spotted a storage compartment nearby, half hidden behind a panel. "Zara, come with me," he shouted, rushing toward it. "We might find something useful." Together, they pried open the compartment, revealing an array of tools and equipment, likely intended for maintenance but potentially useful in a fight. Alex grabbed a wrench and handed another to Zara. "This will have to do for now." As they returned to the main cabin, Nex was busy inputting commands, his fingers flying over the console. "I've disabled some of the security protocols," he announced. "But we need to move fast. I can reroute the power to the defensive shields, but it will take time." "How much time?" Alex demanded, glancing out the window as enemy ships closed in. "A few minutes at most," Nex replied, sweat beading on his forehead. "But we have to hold them off until then." Alex felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had never imagined he would be in a situation like this, fighting not just for his own life but for the lives of these aliens who had become his friends. He turned back to the group, his heart racing with determination. "We have to defend this train, no matter what." Just then, a loud explosion rocked the cabin, sending sparks flying and the lights flickering again. The sound of metal groaning filled the air as Alex braced himself against the wall. "They're boarding," he shouted. "Get ready," Velana instructed, her voice steady despite the chaos. The group positioned themselves near the entrance, tools in hand, ready to confront the invaders. The door burst open, and a group of armed soldiers stormed in, clad in menacing black uniforms. Alex's instincts kicked in, and he swung the wrench with all his might at the first soldier, catching him off guard. The alien stumbled back, surprised by the force of the attack.
Now! Alex shouted, and the others sprang into action, using whatever they could find to fend off the attackers.
Zara swung her wrench at a second soldier, while Velana and Nex worked together to push back another. The chaos erupted into a whirlwind of movement and noise. The clashing sounds of metal against metal echoed in the cabin, punctuated by the shouts of the soldiers and the determined cries of Alex and his friends. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline as he fought alongside them, the fear giving way to a fierce sense of purpose. With every blow, he thought of the refugees they were protecting, the lives they had risked everything to save. He couldn't let them down now. Suddenly, one of the soldiers lunged toward Nex, attempting to subdue him.
"No!"
Alex shouted, rushing forward just in time to intercept the attack. He swung the wrench again, connecting with the soldier's arm, causing him to drop his weapon. It clattered to the floor, and Nex quickly grabbed it, turning the tide in their favor.
"Great job!"
Nex exclaimed, a smile breaking through the tension.
"We can use this." With the enemy momentarily stunned, Alex seized the opportunity. "Let's push them back. We can't let them take this train."
The group rallied together, their resolve strengthened by the adrenaline coursing through their veins. They fought with everything they had, each moment a testament to their newfound alliance. The invaders were relentless, but Alex felt a fierce determination to protect his friends and ensure their safety.
"Keep it up."
"We're almost there," he shouted, dodging a blow from a soldier and countering with a sharp jab to the chest. The soldier faltered, and Alex felt a rush of victory. Then, from the corner of his eye, he saw movement. A soldier was attempting to flank them, aiming to get to the control panel.
"Watch out," he yelled, pointing urgently.
Velana reacted instinctively, sprinting toward the soldier. With a swift kick, she knocked him off balance, sending him crashing to the ground.
"I've got him," she called out.
Alex felt a swell of pride as he saw how everyone was working together. They were more than just allies, they had become a team. Each one of them brought their unique skills to the fight, and together, they were proving to be a formidable force. Just then, Nex shouted, "I'm almost there."
"Just hold them off a little longer."
Alex nodded, determination hardening his resolve.
"We can do this. Stay strong."
As they continued to fend off the attackers, the energy in the cabin shifted, they could feel the tide turning. The aliens fought with a newfound strength, their desperation fueling their actions. Alex's heart raced as he realized they were truly fighting for their lives. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The battle wasn't over yet, but they were on the brink of something greater, and Alex was determined to see it through to the end. As the chaos unfolded around them, Alex felt the adrenaline surging through his veins as if it were fuel for his very soul. The sounds of the train cabin became a cacophony of shouts, metal clashing, and the urgent beeping of alarms warning of impending danger. He had never expected to find himself defending a train from armed soldiers, but here he was, and there was no turning back now. Every instinct told him to run, to save himself, but loyalty to his newfound friends kept him rooted to the spot. "Form a line," he shouted, trying to rally the group. "We need to create a barrier to protect the control panel." Velana, the courageous alien mother, nodded, her eyes glinting with determination.
"I'll take the left flank. Zara, Nex, you're with me." At that moment, the entry doors burst open, and a wave of armed soldiers stormed into the cabin, clad in intimidating black uniforms that seemed to absorb the light.
The first soldier charged forward with a weapon drawn, and Alex reacted instinctively. He swung the wrench he had found earlier with all his might, catching the soldier in the side and forcing him to stagger back, surprise etched on his face.
"Nice hit!"
Nex yelled, his voice barely audible above the din. Just as the soldiers regrouped, Alex caught sight of Velana lunging toward an approaching enemy, her fierce determination shining through the chaos. She grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and swung it like a bat, connecting with a soldier's helmet and sending him reeling.
"Keep it up," Alex encouraged, feeling a rush of camaraderie. "We can do this."
The cabin erupted into a whirlwind of motion, with Alex and his friends fending off the soldiers as they advanced. The clanging of metal reverberated in his ears, punctuated by the harsh sounds of shouting and grunts of pain.
Each blow felt like a battle cry, a defiance against the oppressive forces that had disrupted their lives. Over there, he pointed to a group of soldiers attempting to flank them. We need to cut them off. Zara, the shy alien with a newfound bravery, nodded and threw herself into the fray. I'll help, she shouted, grabbing a nearby toolbox and using it as a weapon, swinging it toward the nearest soldier. Watch your back, Velana warned as she dodged a blow aimed at her. For every soldier they managed to push back, two more seemed to take their place. The stakes were rising, and the fear of failure loomed large in Alex's mind. He had never been one for conflict, always preferring to stay in the background, but a fire ignited within him as he fought alongside these aliens who had come to rely on him. This was no longer just about survival, it was about standing up for what was right. Alex! Nex yelled, pulling him from his thoughts. We need a distraction. Can you create something? Alex glanced around the cabin, spotting a few crates stacked haphazardly near the back. I have an idea. He sprinted toward them, his heart racing, and began pushing the crates toward the center aisle. The soldiers were momentarily distracted, their attention split between the fight and the sudden movement. Now, Alex! Velana shouted. Do it! With a swift motion, Alex tipped over the crates, sending them crashing to the ground and creating a barrier that would slow down the soldiers. That should buy us some time. Just then, a soldier lunged toward him, but before Alex could react, Nex tackled the soldier to the ground, wrestling for control of the weapon. Get his weapon! Alex hollered, rushing to help his friend. In that moment of chaos, he felt a rush of pride for the team they had become. They were no longer strangers, they were united by a shared purpose. The bond they had forged in such a short time was unbreakable, and he would do everything in his power to protect them. Let's push them back, he urged, determination surging through him. We can't let them take this train. With renewed vigor, they pressed forward, fighting as one cohesive unit. Alex felt the thrill of the battle course through him, combined with a profound sense of responsibility. They were fighting not just for their lives but for the future that lay ahead. Keep going. We're almost there, he shouted, dodging another attack, the soldier's fist narrowly missing his face. As the fight raged on, the sound of combat filled the air, but Alex felt a clarity amidst the chaos. This was the moment he had been waiting for, the chance to break free from the monotony of his old life. He was no longer just an Uber driver, he was a protector, a fighter, a part of something bigger than himself. Suddenly, the cabin door burst open again, and a group of reinforcements entered, weapons raised. Panic surged through Alex as he prepared for the worst. But Velana, who had been observing the situation, quickly shouted, "Fall back. We need to regroup." Regroup where? Alex questioned, glancing around frantically. Follow me. Velana led the group through the chaos, maneuvering them toward the train's rear, where they could catch their breath and strategize. Everyone okay? Alex asked, his heart still racing. We're hanging in there, Zara replied, her face flushed but determined. Listen, Velana said, her voice steady. We need to create a plan. We can't keep fighting like this. Agreed, Nex added, wiping sweat from his brow. We need a way to outsmart them. Alex nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. This was a turning point, and they needed to act fast. What if we used the train's resources against them? We could rig something up to give us the upper hand. Zara's eyes brightened. That could work. We can set a trap. Excitement surged through Alex. Yes. If we can lure them in and then spring the trap, we might just stand a chance. He glanced around at the determined faces of his friends. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're going to need all the support we can get. With a renewed sense of purpose, they began to formulate their plan. Alex's mind raced with possibilities as they gathered materials and weapons, each member contributing their unique skills and insights. The fight was far from over, but they had transformed from mere survivors into a formidable team ready to take a stand against their oppressors. As they prepared for the next phase, Alex felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. This was their moment to reclaim control, not just of the train but of their lives.
The battle ahead would be tough, but together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay in wait. The stakes had never been higher, and with every heartbeat, he knew they were about to embark on a fight for their very existence. As the echoes of the battle faded, the cabin fell into a tense silence. The adrenaline coursing through Alex's veins began to ebb, leaving behind a mixture of relief and disbelief. They had done it, they had defended themselves against the attackers. The aliens, once strangers to him, were now allies forged in the fires of chaos and conflict. As they huddled together in the dim light of the train, emotions ran high. Zara, her face still flushed with exertion, glanced at Alex with wide eyes. "Can you believe we actually fought them off? I thought we were done for." Alex nodded, still trying to process the whirlwind of events. "Yeah, I can't believe it either. But we did it. We banded together, and it worked." He felt a surge of pride as he glanced around at the group. They were battered and bruised, but they had survived. Velana, who had been watching the others carefully, stepped forward. "We need to regroup and assess the situation. They might not be the only ones after us." Her tone was serious, and the gravity of her words hung heavily in the air. The reality of their precarious position settled in like a storm cloud. "Agreed," Nex chimed in, his brow furrowed. "We should check the compartments and make sure there are no more enemies lurking about." He motioned for everyone to stay close as they moved toward the rear of the train. As they traversed the narrow aisles, Alex couldn't shake the weight of what had just transpired. He had always thought of himself as an average guy and Uber driver with a mundane life. But in that moment, he realized there was a fighter within him, a side that had been dormant, waiting for the right circumstances to emerge. The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. "Hey, Alex," Zara whispered as they walked, her voice barely above a murmur. "You were amazing back there. I don't think we could have done it without your quick thinking." Alex felt his cheeks warm at the compliment. "Thanks, but it wasn't just me. We all came together as a team. It was everyone's efforts that made a difference." He wanted to downplay his role, but the truth was, he had felt a surge of confidence that he had never experienced before. The group paused at a junction between compartments, and Velana turned to them. "We need to prepare for any potential threats. I suggest we create barriers and fortify our position. It's the only way to ensure we can defend ourselves if they come back." "Let's do it!" Alex exclaimed, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "We've got to turn this train into a fortress." As they began to gather materials, anything they could find to barricade the doors, Alex felt a sense of camaraderie growing among them. Each of them contributed ideas, and for the first time, he truly felt like he belonged. The aliens were not just refugees fleeing a war, they were now his friends, each with their own stories, hopes, and dreams. Zara was quick to help, moving crates and equipment to block the entrance. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We need all the support we can get. Right? Nex responded, chuckling as he wedged a crate against the door. "We're in this together now, and I can't wait to tell everyone about our adventures." As they worked, the tension began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of unity and determination. Alex felt invigorated by the energy of the group. He realized this was more than just survival, it was about standing up for one another, about forging connections in the face of adversity. After several minutes of hard work, they had successfully barricaded the door. The train felt like a fortress now, a safe haven in the midst of chaos. A moment of quiet settled over them as they gathered near the barricade, their hearts still pounding from the adrenaline of the battle. "Let's take a moment to breathe," Velana suggested, her voice calm yet firm. "We've been through a lot, and we need to regroup before we think about our next steps." As they settled down, Alex took a deep breath, exhaling slowly. The weight of their situation washed over him, and he felt the room close in around them. He glanced at each of his companions, and it struck him how different they all were. Yet, in that moment, they were united in their struggle, bound by a shared experience that would forever alter their lives. "Can you tell us more about your planet?" Alex asked, looking at Velana. "I'd love to hear your story." Velana's face softened, her eyes reflecting a mix of sadness and pride. It's a beautiful place, full of vibrant colors and rich cultures. But it has been torn apart by war, and many of us have lost everything. We fled to seek safety, but it's hard to leave home behind. I can't imagine what that's like, Alex said, his heart going out to her. But you're brave for coming here, for fighting for your lives. Thank you, Velana replied, her voice steady. We're strong, but we're also vulnerable. That's why it's so important we stick together. We can't afford to lose anyone else. Nex nodded in agreement. Right. We need to look out for each other. We can't let fear control us. We have to be proactive. As they shared stories, the atmosphere lightened. Zara spoke of her dreams of exploring the stars, while Nex shared amusing anecdotes from his previous jobs. Laughter filled the train car, and for a moment, the weight of their reality lifted, replaced by a sense of hope and shared purpose. As they continued to talk and bond, Alex realized that these connections were what would carry them through the challenges ahead. They were no longer just a group of survivors, they had become a family, a makeshift unit bound by loyalty and resilience. Finally, as the train rumbled forward, Alex felt a sense of clarity wash over him. He was no longer just an Uber driver, he had become a protector and a friend. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but together, they could face whatever came their way. In that moment, he understood that the fight was not just for their survival but for a future filled with hope, connection, and the promise of new beginnings. The train hurtled onward, carrying them toward the unknown, but Alex felt a newfound determination. He was ready to face whatever awaited them, alongside his newfound family. As the train continued its journey through the vastness of space, the hum of the engines resonated like a heartbeat, steady and reassuring. Alex gazed out of the window, watching the stars streak by like pinpricks of light in a cosmic ocean. The weight of the day's events began to settle on him, and he felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had faced danger and emerged victorious, but the emotional toll was just beginning to surface. Can you believe we actually did it? Zara's voice broke through his thoughts. She was sitting across from him, her eyes wide with excitement. The relief in her expression was contagious, and Alex couldn't help but smile. Yeah, it feels surreal, he replied, leaning back in his seat. I honestly didn't think we'd make it. It seemed like everything was against us. Nex, who had been listening intently, nodded in agreement. It's not just about surviving the ambush. We've built something here, a connection. We're more than just a group of random beings thrown together by fate. The others were gathered around, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the train's interior lights. Velana, who had been quiet for a while, finally spoke up. You're right, Nex. I've never felt this sense of belonging before. I thought I'd lost everything when I left my home, but now, it feels like I've gained a family. Alex's heart swelled at her words. He had been searching for purpose for so long, and now, amid these aliens who had once felt so foreign to him, he found a sense of belonging he hadn't expected. It was amazing how quickly they had formed bonds, united by their shared experiences and struggles. Speaking of family, Alex said, what's next for all of us? We can't just ride this train forever. Eventually, we'll reach a destination. Zara's eyes sparkled with determination. Wherever we go, we'll figure it out together. We've already faced so much. What's a little more uncertainty? Uncertainty is part of the adventure, Nex added, a grin spreading across his face. Imagine the stories we'll have to tell. As the conversation flowed, they began sharing their dreams and aspirations. Zara spoke of wanting to explore new worlds, to see the colors and landscapes that existed beyond her imagination. Velana described her hope of rebuilding her community, of creating a safe haven for other refugees. I've always wanted to be a healer, she said, her voice filled with passion. I want to help others, to use my skills to make a difference. Alex felt inspired by their ambitions. And I want to help you. We can create something together, a place where everyone is accepted and valued. The train's rhythmic motion had become a soothing backdrop to their dreams, and for the first time in a long while, Alex felt hope blossom within him. They were no longer just survivors, they were pioneers, ready to carve out a new path in the galaxy. As the train approached a space station, the atmosphere shifted. Alex could see the lights of the station twinkling against the backdrop of the stars.
We should make a plan for when we arrive. It might be our first real step toward a new life.
The group nodded in agreement.
Let's brainstorm some ideas, Nex suggested, leaning forward.
We need to consider our options carefully.
This might be a critical moment for us. Alex's mind raced as he thought of the possibilities. What if we set up a community center? A place where people can come together, share their stories, and support one another? I love that idea. Zara exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. We can offer workshops, teach skills, and create a network of support. It could be a safe space for everyone. Velana raised her hand, excitement twinkling in her eyes. And we can also have a clinic. With my healing skills and Zara's knowledge of nutrition, we could help so many people.
As they continued to brainstorm, Alex found himself lost in the vision of what they could achieve together. The prospect of building a new future filled him with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. He had always thought of himself as a mere Uber driver, a cog in the machine of life, but now he saw himself as a leader, a guiding force for those who needed it.
Suddenly, a voice crackled over the intercom, interrupting their thoughts. Attention passengers, we will be arriving at Zeta Station in 10 minutes.
Please prepare for disembarkation.
The announcement sent a wave of anticipation through the group.
They exchanged excited glances, the reality of their situation hitting them all at once.
All right, let's make a pact, Alex said, his voice firm. No matter what happens when we step off this train, we face it together. We've come this far, and we're not turning back now.
Agreed, the group echoed, their voices filled with determination. As the train slowed and the lights of Zeta Station grew brighter, Alex felt a rush of adrenaline. They were on the brink of something new and unknown, but he was ready to face it head-on.
The challenges might be daunting, but they were no longer alone.
They had formed a family, and together they could conquer anything. As the train came to a complete stop, Alex took a deep breath and glanced around at his companions. Each of them had their own story, their own pain, and their own hopes for the future. They were a tapestry of experiences woven together by their shared journey. Let's do this, he said, standing up and extending his hand to each of his friends. Together. One by one, they joined him, their faces filled with determination and excitement. Alex felt a sense of pride swell within him. This was just the beginning of their journey, and as they stepped onto the platform of Zeta Station, he knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it united, ready to create a future filled with hope and possibility. As they made their way toward the exit, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into a new chapter, one that would be defined by their choices, their courage, and their unwavering bond. The galaxy was vast and filled with uncertainties, but together, they were ready to navigate its complexities. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The adventure is just beginning, and there's so much more to come. As the train rolled to a halt at Zeta Station, the atmosphere was electric with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Alex could feel his heart racing as he looked out the window, taking in the sprawling expanse of the station, a hive of activity buzzing with creatures of all shapes and sizes. The bright lights flickered overhead, illuminating the crowd that surged toward the exits, each individual eager to embark on their own journey. We made it! Zara exclaimed, her voice bubbling with joy. Her eyes sparkled as she turned to Alex, who smiled back, his own relief washing over him. They had not only survived the ambush but had also reached their destination together, a testament to their resilience and unity. Yeah, we did. Alex replied, his voice filled with conviction. And now it's time to make a plan for our new lives. He felt a sense of purpose swell within him, a feeling that had been absent for far too long. As the doors of the train opened, a gust of cool air rushed in, carrying the scents of exotic foods and the distant sounds of laughter and music. Alex stepped off the train, the platform beneath his feet feeling solid and real, grounding him in this new chapter of his life. Behind him, the aliens followed, their expressions a mix of awe and apprehension. Stick together, he said, glancing back at Nex and Velana. We'll face this together, just like we did on the train. No one gets left behind.
With renewed determination, they moved through the bustling crowd, weaving in and out of groups of alien families, traders, and travelers.
Vendors shouted about their wares, showcasing vibrant fruits, intricate crafts, and strange mechanical devices that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The air buzzed with conversations in countless languages, creating a symphony of sound that underscored the excitement of the moment. As they navigated through the throng, Velana stopped to admire a stall filled with shimmering crystals. "Look at these," she exclaimed, her fingers brushing against the cool surfaces.
"They say these have healing properties.
"Maybe we can incorporate them into our community center," Alex suggested, feeling the rush of inspiration. "A place where we can share knowledge and healing techniques.
It could become a sanctuary for those in need." Zara nodded enthusiastically.
"Yes. We could offer workshops and classes.
I can help with nutrition and wellness.
There's so much potential here." The idea of a community center began to take shape in their minds, a beacon of hope for those who had been displaced like them. As they continued to walk, Alex felt a profound sense of belonging. He was no longer just an Uber driver, he was part of something larger, something meaningful.
"All right, let's find a spot to set up our base," Alex said, glancing around for a suitable location.
"We need to establish ourselves and start reaching out to others." Just as they approached a quieter corner of the station, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of aliens was gathered around a large screen displaying news from across the galaxy. Alex felt a tug of curiosity and led his friends closer. The news anchor, a tall being with vibrant blue skin, spoke urgently about an ongoing conflict in a neighboring system. "Reports confirm that peace talks have stalled, and tensions are rising once again," he said, his voice grave. "Many are fleeing to find safety, and relief efforts are being organized." Nex clenched his fists, his expression darkening.
"We can't let this happen again. We need to step in and help."
Alex felt a sense of urgency in Nex's words.
"You're right.
Our community center can play a crucial role in providing support and resources for those affected. We've been through so much, and we can't ignore the suffering of others." With renewed resolve, they turned away from the screen, and Alex led his friends to a designated area within the station. It had the potential to become a communal space, filled with warmth and compassion. They started discussing what supplies they would need, how to set up workshops, and how to reach out to others who might need their help. As they worked through their plans, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. They were creating something out of nothing, a place where everyone could feel safe and supported. The camaraderie between them strengthened as they shared their visions for the future. After a few hours of brainstorming and planning, the group decided to take a break. They wandered through the station, taking in the various stalls and shops. Alex felt invigorated by the vibrant atmosphere, the laughter and joy surrounding him.
"Let's grab something to eat," Zara suggested. "I want to try one of those alien delicacies everyone is talking about."
They made their way to a nearby food court, where the scents of strange spices and sizzling meats filled the air. Alex watched as Zara eagerly sampled different dishes, her eyes lighting up with every new flavor.
Nex and Velana joined in, sharing their own favorites and laughing together. "Who would have thought that a simple train ride would lead us here?"
Alex mused, his heart swelling with gratitude. "We've all been through so much, and yet here we are, ready to make a difference." As they settled down with their food, Alex felt a wave of contentment wash over him. They were not just survivors, they were a family, united by their shared experiences and the hope they held for their future. "Let's make a pact," Velana said, her voice steady. "No matter what challenges we face ahead, we will always support each other."
"We're in this together."
"Together," echoed the others, their voices filled with conviction. As they raised their glasses in a toast, Alex couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. They had transcended their past struggles, and together, they would forge a new path forward. As they finished their meal, Alex felt a sense of peace enveloping him. Each bite was a reminder of how far they had come, and how much they had yet to achieve. The future was uncertain, but with his newfound family by his side, he was ready to embrace whatever came next. As they stepped back into the bustling station, Alex felt a spark of excitement in the air. There was a world of possibilities waiting for them, and he was determined to make the most of it. Comment what your favorite moment was and turn on notifications, he said with a grin, knowing that their story was just beginning. Together, they would write a new chapter in the galaxy, one filled with hope, resilience, and the power of community.